down. I don't care, I'll burn out anyhow.
Sonic Youth were an American rock band from New York. They started in 1981 as a no-wave band, whatever that means, but became a noise rock band. After 15 albums and 30 years, they quit in 2011. One of their singers and bassist, Kim Gordon, has also had a significant solo career. I have reviewed at least one of her albums in this series. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the 14th album by Sonic Youth, and it's my first time listening to it. So how would I describe this? So I know that Sonic Youth are kind of have this reputation for being noise rock or post-punk or punk even, and Wikipedia lists this as alternative rock, and I think I would go, yes, this is alt rock. They apparently wanted this to be a commercial breakthrough album in the same way that Parallel Lines was quite a few years previously for Blondie. Attempting a commercial breakthrough on your 14th album is, definitely something that is an interesting challenge. I would have to say, in my opinion, it's no Parallel Lines, but for them, it's quite a commercial album. Not that I know them very well. Particularly. So I would describe it as an alternative rock. It's kind of atmospheric rock. There's some of it's quite upbeat, some of it's slower. There's very much an emphasis on guitars here, and a lot of the time there's guitar, I don't say riffs, but I'm not sure riffs is quite right for what they're doing. It's not quite arpeggios either. It's just kind of repeated figures that go over and over, and then little bits of other things. It's kind of almost like tunes at times, and there's a lot of that. And it's very much using the same guitar sound throughout. It's got a very kind of coherent sound to it in terms of the instruments. There's occasional bits of noise come in here, either bits that sound like they're feedback or other things like that, or just very strangely processed guitar sounds. And my little exposure to Sonic Youth tells me that this is kind of a nod back to the noise stuff that they did in earlier years. The singing is, there are two main singers here, Thurston Moore and Kim Gordon. I believe there's one from Ronaldo, not the footballer. Out of the two of those, in terms of voice, I prefer Kim Gordon's voice to Thurston Moore's. Not that Thurston's is bad. I mean, they're both kind of, fit with the genre quite well. They're not by any means virtuoso voices. They're not, Whitney Houston type vocal gymnastics. They're kind of just, some straightforward somebody singing. They're not necessarily spot on tune all the time, but in a way that I didn't have an objection to this time. The end of the album it becomes more atmospheric and less commercial, and I kind of feel like it's veering towards, I don't know if you know, the Doors' Riders in the Storm, which is kind of one of my benchmarks for atmospheric songs. It's not quite that far, but it's definitely going in that direction. And Pink Steam, which is the last but one track, was a longer track, and I liked it. And there's quite a lot of instrumental in it, and I liked that. It was kind of a space feeling to it. The last track, Ore, is good too. It's more of an acoustic feel, but there's a kind of, let's say that the whole thing's got kind of a fairly lo-fi sound aesthetic to it. But when I say fairly, not very. And it definitely has this feeling of the band playing rather than a manufactured commodity. In a way that, I think is pretty good. It kind of works. The sound quality is kind of, I would say, it's not muffled, but it's not crisp either. It's somewhere between the two, which gives it a sort of warmth to it, potentially. There are songs about various things here. Mostly they're about relationships, things like infidelity, sexual urges. There's a song about Christians in office. There's songs about other things as well in there. They're all fairly dark and moody. They're not kind of, happy, clappy kind of people. You can tell that. And it's mostly made up of the lyrics of kind of snatches of sentences and phrases to give an overall idea. But yeah, it's all right. It's, I wouldn't say it was stellar songwriting, but it's reasonable. So my normally when I do one of these reviews, excuse me, my nose is quite itchy today. When I do these reviews, I usually listen to an album twice. That was true this time. And yesterday I had my first listen to this album, and I was in a bad mood yesterday when I listened to it, and I felt like the album emphasised that bad mood. Today I listened again, and I've been in a better mood today, and I enjoyed it more. So this is slightly melancholy music that I enjoy more when I'm in a better mood myself already. I think there were elements of it that irritated me a bit more when I was in a bad mood, and I think I'm a bit more forgiving when I'm in a better mood. So anyway, there we go. I quite liked it. It wasn't, I'm not shouting from the rooftops about how brilliant it is. I know there are people who really rate Sonic Youth, and I think I get it. They've got an aesthetic to them. I feel like I was approaching this wanting to like it more than maybe I did, but I wasn't hugely disappointed, I would say. It's a reasonable rock album. So there we go. That's what I think. What do you think? Please talk to me through the comments box. That's it from me for now.
In your mouth, a wad of cash.